Hello, Internet! My name is Aqua, and welcome to the Aqua Vlog. I just punched my chair for some reason. So I have a big old list of stuff, not really that big, but it's gonna take a while to get through anyway. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that I've been thinking of this last week, and some stuff that I just kind of got to thinking about today, even just because of a vlog that Markiplier just put out today. So I'm gonna be talking about a bunch of stuff. I also don't have a lot to talk about from this last week because there was a lot of just getting used to living here. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Ugh. I've just been getting set up and ready and put together and put my life back together, basically. So let's get started. So I mentioned that Markiplier put out a vlog today, and he was talking about how YouTube is changing or has changed, and that's not really what I want to talk about necessarily. There's actually something that he mentioned in there, which was making the kind of videos that you want to make, instead of just making videos because people want to watch them. And really, ever since I started this, I've just pretty much been making videos that I want to make for the most part. I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do, so I've been kind of like doing a lot of stuff, and I think I've kind of figured out the direction I want to go with the channel in that regard. I realized I really enjoy video editing, and I really want to do more of that, and doing long Let's Plays, like half-hour things where I just like record for half an hour, just straight through, just like put it up as that. I don't really get to do a lot of editing that. I get to add some stuff every once in a while, but I don't get to like cut it down and like add a bunch of stuff to it and like make it my own kind of thing, because I don't feel like I'm really that good at just like talking or trying to make jokes or do whatever for half an hour. So I think what I'm gonna try to do from now on, after stuff like Psychonauts and Half-Life ends, which that might be a while still yet, I don't know, going forward, any series that I would have done in that style of just doing like 20 minutes or 30 minutes at a time, I'll probably just record like I normally would anything else, and still keep it as a series and play the entire game through, but just like still like cut it down. I'll keep all the story elements so you won't be missing any of that, but I'll still be able to put it in my own style and be able to do a lot of editing with it and do a lot of cool fun stuff. So I feel like that's kind of what I want to do in the future. So there you go. So now on to the stuff that I kind of wanted to talk about that I've been like kind of thinking about this last week a lot of, and kind of since I've been doing this whole thing for the last year and however long it's been, a few months now. I want to start off by saying, if you are wanting to do YouTube stuff for a career like I'm trying to do, really make sure that it's what you want to do, because it's not easy. This is the hardest thing I've ever tried to do in my life, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it in the first place, because it's challenging, and that's something that I've kind of struggled with, is finding something that's challenging, because all throughout schooling everything was really easy, and even going into college it was really easy, and I was just like, I know I can do this, it's like super easy. I feel like I'm getting no gratification out of anything I'm doing, despite doing something that I love, which was programming part of the time, but I felt like I wasn't really getting anything out of it, and I kind of saw where everything was heading toward, of like me just getting a job at a company and doing programming work, which would have been fine, I guess, but I really wouldn't have been happy necessarily with it. I definitely know I could have like done other stuff, like what I'm doing now, and so that's why I'm doing this now. If you didn't know, when I was in college I was going for computer science stuff. It was really strange because all my classes that were like the hard classes, like the engineering classes, like calculus, like all the calculus, doing all the programming stuff and everything related to the actual thing that I was trying to, like the degree itself, because there were other classes that I do like prereqs, like the biggest one that I struggled with is macroeconomics, which I couldn't care less about. Every time I had something like calculus or a programming class or something, I would get an A or a B in it, because I actually cared about it, and I don't really feel like I tried super hard for that. It's just that I enjoyed doing it, so I actually did it. And so it wasn't really challenging at all, it was just something that I was doing, and I enjoyed it, so I was doing well at it because I actually cared. But the thing is, I really didn't learn anything after 2 years even. I had been programming for like 7 years before that. I even skipped ahead in class because I already knew the stuff. I could have skipped ahead 2 classes and it would have been totally fine. I just wasn't getting anything out of it, and I was like, if I go through with this, I'm going to be learning incredibly slowly. I'll be getting a job that I won't necessarily enjoy, so I kind of felt like it wasn't worth it to me. But now that I've been doing this whole YouTube thing for the last year and whatever, and I've been about on track to what I thought was going to happen, so I knew it was going to be starting slowly and everything and blah blah blah, whatever, but I felt like I was actually getting gratification out of it, like for myself. Like I was enjoying what I was doing, and I was seeing feedback on what I was doing, and people were seeming to enjoy it, and I felt good about what I was doing. Like I was doing something that I should be doing, and it was like other people enjoying, and like I was kind of like meeting my goals, you know? And then halfway through last year, I moved somewhere else to get a job, and I wasn't exactly told everything that I needed to know, it turns out. I thought I was going to be having like a full-time job or close to it at least, and I thought it was going to be year-round, not seasonal. It was seasonal, I didn't know that. There were some other things in there that I wasn't really told, or that I was told that were wrong, that all kind of led to me getting kicked out this last month. I guess this month, technically. And even though it's been like a week since that's happened, I've kind of been struggling a lot just with a lot of stuff. Even going through last month in March, knowing that I was going to get kicked out at the end of the month and then I had to move, even though I had the option of coming back to there, which I'm probably not going to do at this point, honestly, because I don't want to deal with everything that's happened, and I just don't want to deal with those people. It was a lot of bad stuff. So last year, I felt like it was a really good year for me, even though I was struggling with money a lot still, because I was doing what I loved, and I had a job for a little bit, at least, and I was in a place where I felt like I had a lot of opportunity for a lot of different things. I felt like I was like, you know, on track to be doing what I want to do and like making a career out of this and doing good things in my life, I guess. But then the whole thing happened where I got kicked out and it was totally unfair. My landlord, who did it, even said it was unfair. Unfortunately, I don't have a freaking text anymore that says it because my phone broke, which is part of the thing I'll get to in a little bit. It was just kind of like, everything just kind of like, I felt like was falling apart, and it really sucked. So after I found that out last month, I had one of probably the worst months of my life. I hope that didn't really affect my videos too much, I don't really know. I honestly don't remember like recording anything in March. Just because I don't remember recording anything anytime, really, just because like I do it and I get it out and then blah blah blah. It's just like such a fast-paced thing where it's just like I record it and then I edit it and upload it and it just like keeps going, so I don't really have time to think about like the individual videos necessarily, unless it's stuff that I work really hard on, like the channel trailer that I just put up recently. That was 5 hours of work for like a minute and 15 seconds. And I loved working on it every second that I was doing editing stuff on it. I just loved it, even though at the end of the day, I was just like completely exhausted. And I was just sitting here like, just like working on the video stuff all day, and I was still completely exhausted. I still loved every second of it. So I was really glad that that was the case, because it kind of like reassured me that this is something that I really like to do. But this last month, and even this last week, has been incredibly difficult for me, which I kind of talked about, I think it was last week, I think it was. Some other things have been happening, like, I've been getting charged for stuff that I didn't even realize what works. I thought I was getting charged for auto insurance payments that had gotten canceled, it turned out. So I thought I was going to get a refund for it, but it turned out it was for life insurance that I thought I didn't even know that I had. That kind of sucked. And then I tried canceling a bunch of stuff that I had subscriptions for, if I can say the words. And when I tried doing that, they were like, well, you can't do it, but we can't give you a free month. So I was like, okay, I'll just do that then instead, since I don't have any money right now, really. And they kind of charged me anyway. And so because of those two things, I ended up getting all my money taken away from me. And that sucked really badly, and I'm in the process of getting a refund for some of the stuff, so I'll be getting a little bit back, but it was just like, get kicked out, get all your money taken away, and my phone got fried because it updated, and then I tried charging it, and the battery just like melted, basically. It didn't melt literally, but it got hot enough to where it fried the battery, and if I had been like in my pocket or something, it could have caught on fire. Like, I was really surprised. If it had been like resting on my skin or something while I was sleeping, I would have had a really bad burn. And so I had to get a new phone. I lost all my contacts and all my pictures because I thought I had my contacts synced to my email, and I didn't. So I lost all my contacts, and that sucked. And there's just been some other stuff, and so like I just feel like things just kind of keep getting worse and worse and worse, and it really sucks, and it's been really difficult on me. And so that kind of leads into something that I've actually kind of been having issues with for a while, which is just like wanting to give up on doing the whole YouTube thing and doing like just chasing after my dreams, which is kind of what I'm doing. I feel like I don't really have any other option than to do that, because I don't feel like anything else is worth it to me. Like, I feel like if I'm not doing everything I can to do what I want to do with my life, then I'm not doing anything with my life, really. Like, I need to be going after my goals in order to feel like I'm accomplishing things. And if I just go the normal route of just like going through college and stuff, I feel like I'm just wasting my life. But even so, sometimes like days in a row, I feel like I just like want to stop doing all this. Even today, earlier, I was just like, maybe I'm going to delete my channel. And that was like an actual thought I had. I didn't give it any credence or anything. I was just like, I had that thought and I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And it's not going to ever happen. Most likely, unless something like that I don't know, I can't say never because something might happen where I have to do that or something. As far as I'm concerned, what I want, that's not going to happen. But I still have that feeling of like wanting to give up a lot, and it's something that I don't know if there's other creators of any kind, or even just like in any sort of anything, like going through college, going through anything, if people feel that way, if they like have times where they just like want to give up on it, because it's really tough. And especially what I'm trying to do, and I know a lot of people like Markiplier and people from Game Grumps and stuff have said that like it's a really tough thing to do, to like chase after your dreams and do something like this, especially creatively. But it's what I want to do, and it really is what I want to do, and I have a lot of things that I want to do with it. So I feel like it's definitely worth it, and so I'm going to keep going after it. It's just really weird to me that I still have these times where I just feel like I want to give up because of just things that are going on. And I feel like it's something that I feel like a lot of people would have that reaction or thought of too. I'm kind of struggling to find the words now. I'm just like, ugh. But it's just something that I've been struggling with for even since I started this, probably. Maybe not since I started, like probably last year when like things started getting not so great with the whole money situation. It's something that I have to work through. And that actually leads into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the way that I get through that is there's one thing that I always think of that always like gives me strength, and that is the phrase keep moving forward, which is Monty Ohm's mantra for how he lived his life, and just his mantra for life, I guess. It's like anytime I feel like I'm struggling and that I can't do it and that I'm going to give up, I just like think of that. And it's not just the phrase itself that helps me, like keep moving forward is like a really nice thing to think of. It's just there's a lot of things that go along with that for me. Like it has a certain connotation just because of knowing what I knew about Monty and his work ethic, and he's the reason why I had the courage to start chasing after my dreams in the first place. That phrase means a lot to me, so when I think of that and remind myself of that, it really helps me to just get through whatever I'm kind of like having the blockade of. And it's made it so that I just don't give up and I just keep going, because that's just what I need to do. I just have to keep going. I have to keep moving forward. That's exactly what it is. Something else I wanted to mention was I had somebody tell me a few times that the universe just tells you sometimes that you can't do this, so you shouldn't. And I don't believe that at all, really. Like I've heard from a few different people and a few different phrasings of that kind of similar thing, where it's just like, well, maybe your life's just telling you need to do this, or like whatever. There's a ton of different iterations of it, but it's a lot of the same thing, and I just simply don't believe that. Like I feel like no matter what, if like things keep getting like more and more rough, like no matter what, I just need to keep working through it and work harder. Like I take that as a sign that I need to be working harder instead of that I need to be doing something different, which I guess working harder is doing something different, but saying it's like, oh, this bad thing happened, so I'm not going to do this anymore, that seems really silly to me. It's something I don't understand really, and I know it'd be a way for people to... Words are not coming to my brain. It's a way for people to cope with things that are happening. You should probably like take breaks and like take time to yourself to like get through things. But for me, I'm crazy, and I just want to keep working no matter what's going on in my life. Like right now, I'm kind of in the worst states in years that I've been in. Like I'm pretty much like at rock bottom, honestly. And it seems like I keep saying that a lot to myself, that it's like, oh, I've hit rock bottom again. But no matter what, I'm going to keep still working through it and just like trying to get through it, because I feel like what I want to do with my life is worth everything that's happening and that has happened and that will happen. I feel like I need to keep working toward my goals, because it's like the one thing in my life that I feel like is worth doing. And if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Hey, freaking sayings that are old. But no, seriously, like I feel like it's worth doing, and I feel like it's the only thing that I've found for me that's worth doing. So I'm going to keep doing it no matter what. And even though I'll have moments where I kind of just like have like breakdowns and just like, oh, everything's terrible and blah, 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 which just happened a couple times this week, unfortunately, I just need to keep going after it, basically, and just keep with it. Like, I'll have those moments, I'm like, okay, I got that under my system, let's figure out what I need to do now. That's pretty much how life is. It's just like, you're gonna have some tough situations. Life is not easy, and that's something that is becoming more and more apparent to me, like, every year that I live my life. You can either take it and deal with it and learn from it and move on, or you can let it destroy you. I had a few years where I did let it destroy me, and I just let everything get me down, and I wasn't doing anything with my life. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do awesome stuff instead. And that's what I'm trying to do now. The last thing I really wanted to talk about, which is something I don't think I've talked about before, was this is not the first channel I've had. This is not the first attempt I've had at doing this kind of thing. A few years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, it's coming up on 4 years now, I started a Twitch channel and a YouTube channel because I saw people, like, I actually mentioned this slightly in my channel trailer, but I saw Kurt J. Mac doing Farlands or Bust, which was a walkathon charity event in Minecraft where he's trying to walk to the Farlands, which is like 12 million blocks from spawn. And along the way, he's like just raising money for charity. That's the entire point of that series, is just like, I'm going to be walking to the Farlands and we're going to be raising money for charity along the way, and when we hit milestones, we'll find out how far we've gone. And it's been amazing. It's been going on for like 5 years now, I think, 5 or 6 years, and it was really, really inspirational to me at the time, and that kind of got me started, along with Game Grumps starting, which was like 4 years ago now. I was like, oh, like Let's Plays are a thing, I can just do that. And I was also watching like I started doing speedrunning at the time. I was watching like live streamers a lot at the time, and so I started doing live streaming and making videos, and that was doing really, really well. Like, I was on track to actually, like, if I had done it for a couple more months, I could have gotten a sponsorship from Twitch, or a partner, whatever it's called, from Twitch, and I could have been, like, doing it for my job kind of thing. Unfortunately, I went to college, and things happened, just life happened in general. There's a bunch of stuff that I couldn't really control, I wasn't expecting, and I ended up just having to stop doing all of that stuff, and that was probably the biggest regret that I had in my life. I try really hard not to regret things, but like, if there's one thing that I do regret, it is like stopping doing that, because that's what I wanted to do. That's really, really what I wanted to do. And the reason I went to college in the first place is just because I felt like that's what you were supposed to do. Because I was like 19 and I was like, well, like everybody does this, so I guess I have to too. Spoiler alert, for life, you don't have to do what everybody tells you to, or what people say that you should do. You can do whatever you want with your life. It doesn't, like, you just figure it out, basically. I will say, not going to college does make life a lot harder, because everybody wants you to have a degree to get into a job, blah, 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 but it also depends on a lot of who you know, and that's how I got my job that I had where I moved to, is just because I knew somebody, and I just so happened to be learning the exact stuff I needed to learn in order to do that job, so it kind of worked out really well. Even if you don't have a degree, like, if you just learn stuff on your own and you can, like, prove it to people and, like, be really, really good at it, then things will probably work out anyway. Then again, I'm just 22, almost 23 years old, and I'm not exactly successful right now, so you don't necessarily need to take my advice. It's just things that I've learned throughout my life so far, throughout my hardships and everything that I've dealt with. So take all that for what you will. I just wanted to talk about some of the stuff that I've been kind of thinking about for a while, and just, like, saying that basically what I already said, so I'm not going to repeat myself. I don't know that I really got my points across the way I wanted to, exactly. I had stuff written down and hoping that I could kind of, like, form a coherent thing, but I don't know if I succeeded in doing that, really. I hope so. And I hope that it gives you some sort of knowledge, I guess. You can learn from my mistakes. Learn from your own mistakes, too. Like, that's a huge thing in life, is not just, like, saying, it's like, oh, this bad thing happened to me. I don't know why. It's just like, this bad thing happened to me. I don't care why. Let's learn from it, though. I guess you should probably care why, because you can learn why that happened and avoid it in the future, but, The last thing on my list that I had that I kind of touched on was just working hard at what you do and everything that you do. If you want to succeed in something, you're going to have to work hard at it. And that's not true just for what you want to do for your career, but even for your individual jobs you had. Like, one of my first jobs was working at a greenhouse. It was about a year ago, more than a year ago now. But I was working at a greenhouse, where it's like growing vegetables and flowers and stuff. I got really good at every position that I was put in because I just want to work hard at what I do. So, like, I just figure I'm at the job, I'm here to do a job, so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it as well as I can. So that's just kind of like my own kind of thing, and that's how I do it at every job that I've had so far. Except one, because I was treated terribly. And so I just couldn't get myself to care at all about that place because they didn't care about me at all. It was just a bad situation, really. But every other job I've had, I've always worked as hard as I can on it, and people have noticed. Anytime I was working as a stagehand, and almost every time after we got done with everything, I was either thanked by one of the people, one of the crew, the trials of the band, or the stage manager, or just other people I was working with, and I'm always really bad at taking compliments, I'll say. I don't expect it really ever. So, because I just feel like I'm doing my job, or feel like I'm just like, doing whatever. I don't feel like anything that I ever do deserves complimenting. I was always really appreciated, and I was always really surprised when it happened, because I just felt like I was doing the same thing as everybody else, and I guess I was just being me and working hard, and people noticed. So, if you want to succeed in what you do, work hard. That's really what it is. And I do the same thing with all my videos. Like, every video that I make, I try to throw my everything that I have toward it, so I can make it as good as I can. So I can make it as good as I can and be improving myself. Because if you work hard at something, you're always going to be pushing yourself, and if you push yourself, you're going to be getting better at stuff. And so I always try to learn new styles of editing, learn new styles of comedy. That's why I'm watching Let's Plays constantly. I mean, I wouldn't be watching Let's Plays if it wasn't what I was doing, probably. Maybe it would be, I don't know. I mean, part of it is also, I guess, So there was a time between when I was doing Let's Plays and streaming years ago and when I started last year, where I was kind of doing nothing for a while, and then I was like, I'm gonna make a game, and I put a whole group together, and then that group stopped caring almost immediately, which really sucked, kind of. And it was partially my fault, I will admit. But I was working on that game, I was still watching Let's Plays during it, but I felt like I was still getting something out of it for what I was working on, because I was seeing games, and I could just look at them, because I studied game design on my own for a year or two. Not all the way through, but it was something that I really, really wanted to get into, and I wanted to make games, so I was like, I need to learn what makes a game good, and how to design a game, and that kind of stuff. So just seeing these games and knowing what to look for, and getting their own feedback, if they're talking about it, I was like, this sucks, and it's like, well, it sucks, but then I can kind of look at that and be like, why does that suck? And then I would do that. And so I was just seeing a bunch of games that way just by watching Let's Plays. That's part of the reason why I like watching Let's Plays, is because I get to see a lot of different games, and I get to kind of look at what those games are like, and what makes them good, or what makes them bad, or what makes them different even. So it's kind of a whole thing. And now that I'm actually doing Let's Plays myself, I get to see also how they do it, and what makes a good Let's Play and that kind of stuff. So I'm always trying to learn from everything that I do. Basically, everything needs to feed into each other for me. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy or something. Ugh. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling at this point. I'm just talking about nothing at all, and I've already said the things that I want to, I think, for the most part. Hopefully I did. I honestly don't remember at this point, because I forget immediately anytime I'm recording a video what I've said, because I'm always just trying to think of what I'm saying in the moment. So, hopefully this is something decent. But anyway, that'll do it for this week, I believe. Next week, I might start doing some different stuff for vlogs. I thought about doing it this week, but I wanted to, sit down and talk about a bunch of stuff, so I didn't. But next week, might have something different-ish. So we'll see. But anyway, for this week, that'll do it. As always, thank you everybody who's been watching everything. The channel's been growing spectacularly, and I kind of can't believe it. It's been doing really well, and I hope people are still enjoying my stuff. I had kind of a slow week last week. I didn't really put out any normal Let's Play stuff, but I'm getting back to that this week. And so if you've been missing out on that stuff, really sorry. I had to take some time for myself and to just kind of acclimate to what's been going on. Things are going to be back to normal this week. So be excited for that, I guess. Ugh. But anyway, I hope you enjoy what's to come and stuff. Yeah. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week. Bye.